Hello, and I'm very honored to be part of the Polish Fascia Symposium. I want to give a very special thank you to Piotr and Lucas and the staff for creating this amazing opportunity for people all over the world to come together and study the various fields that are based around fascia. Hi, I'm Dan Bienenfeld, and I'm a certified Hellerwork practitioner and teacher of Hellerwork structural integration. I'd like to welcome you to the Hellerwork demonstration. And here today, I'd like to share this amazing work that I've been involved with since 1978 and have had an amazing career in this work. I started out with severe scoliosis, which is a pattern in the body where the spine twists and distorts. And I grew up with this pattern, and it made it very difficult to move. I was very stiff. My posture wasn't good, and it was very uncomfortable. And fortunately, I was directed to structural integration, which really helped me. It actually allowed my body to straighten out and grow 1.5 inches just going through the process. It was a life-changing event. And it was then that I realized that I need to practice this work and share it with the world. Now, having a body, I'm sure that you are aware of the different patterns in your body as well. How would you like to be able to be pain-free? How would it be for you if you had beautiful posture and fluid movement that would sustain you through all the areas of your life? And would you like to be in touch with how emotions and thoughts affect the body and how to clear them out? Well, that's all available to you with Hellerwork structural integration. So what is Hellerwork? Hellerwork is an educational process that includes structural body work, movement education, and what we call dialogue or somatic dialogue. So I'd like to talk with you about the 3 components of Hellerwork structural integration. There's the structural body work, there's the movement education, and there's the dialogue process. And I'm going to get into that, but before I do that, it's very important that I introduce you to the material that holds the shape of the body, since we're working to shift the shape of the body and improve the alignment. So the body is made up of connective tissue, and one very important and now very famous type of connective tissue is called fascia. Fascia, as you may know, wraps around every muscle fiber. It wraps around every organ. It's really considered the organ of structure, and it holds the body together in the form that we have. Without that, our body would be basically very differently shaped, and nothing would be containing all of the elements. So the fascia is very important, and this material, of course, used to be thought of as not very important and even considered packing material. And now we're aware that fascia has a unique role in the body's communication system. It has millions, trillions of microtubules that go through it. And through those little microtubules is a clear gelatinous type of a liquid that shoots through the body at an enormous speed. Some say faster than the speed of light, which is a very important breakthrough in modern science. And anyway, fascia is a huge communication system in the body that allows us to feel, to sense, to shape ourselves, to position ourselves, and so many other functions. It's really part of the nervous system, but it had not been identified as such until very recently. So it's important to talk about fascia because fascia is what gives us our shape. And here we are with structural integration. We're looking at changing our shape. So I'll start with the structural bodywork part of the work. First of all, one of the goals of the body work is to realign the body and put the body in the line of gravity. Now, that may sound a little bit obscure, but gravity is arguably the most powerful force in the universe, and it has a big impact that we live in the gravity field of this earth. And the way our body is aligned, therefore, is extremely important. If my body is aligned vertically, then it's very easy to maintain. Once the body leaves the vertical field, as you see with many people with different types of postures, the body then requires an enormous amount of energy to live in the gravity field. Those of you that have ever balanced a broomstick in your hand, you can see that you can balance it very easily when it's in the vertical field. But once it starts tipping over, you have to get under it. All this energy is expended. The body is no different. So when the body is lined up with gravity vertically, it's much less likely to cause energy use. In other words, it economizes the energy use that we have. So you may ask, well, how do we adjust the body shape? Well, that's what the structural bodywork portion of the work is about. We use our fingers, our knuckles, our elbows, and our minds and our hearts to manipulate the body in various lines and with various pressures and depths. And that allows us to actually manipulate the fascia and reposition the organs, the bones, and really the whole shape of the body. It's amazing. And having come from someone who had a lot of twists in my body, I can tell you that you can really reshape the body and put it in a very different posture, and it really stays there. The work is very lasting. So the body work basically realigns the body and releases deep and chronic holding patterns, a lot of which has been held in the body even since birth or even in utero. Some of these patterns in the fascia start being created through several factors. One factor is positioning, like how we hold ourselves and how we move. As you know, if you were a dancer and you trained as a dancer all day long, you would basically end up with a dancer's body. You know, your body would become longer, more agile, easier to move, and the posture would probably become more vertical, especially if it were ballet. Now, if you were slouching at a desk all day, your body would also inherit that form and that posture, which would not be very pretty. And it would take a toll, because the thing about fascia is remodeling 24/7, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And so the way we are in our body, the body is modeling itself to support the way that we're using it. That's very important. So with the body work, we manually reposition the body into a much more aligned and fluid structure so that everything is more connected and the alignment is in the field of gravity. It's an amazing thing that we can do this. Now, secondly, is the movement education. Now, some of the other elements that give us our shape, of course, one is gravity. We live in the field of gravity. And it's been said that if we were born in space and had never experienced gravity, our bodies would not be shaped the way they are. We have the shape of our body to be able to live in this gravity field. And gravity has an impact. Many people talk about losing the battle with gravity, that gravity is pulling us down. But the truth is, gravity is also supporting us up when we're aligned with it. And that's why it's important to align it with gravity. The third important factor that gives us the shape that we have and affects our shape is genetics. Let's face it, we have traits that are passed down for thousands of years through our gene pool. And yes, we have a tendency to have characteristics that our parents and grandparents have. However, those characteristics don't need to be permanent with us. We can actually change the shape of the body. Even if you inherited a type of a body structure, you can still lengthen it and reposition it, because when you work with the fascia and the movement pattern and the psychology, you can actually do that. So another element of shaping what shapes the body is imitation. And you see this with infants that are growing up. You can imagine macho dad walking down the street and the little boy is following him with the same posture. We learn by looking and seeing what our models do. Our models are our parents, our teachers, actors, influencers in our life. And another element that helps shape us are the traumas that we experience. A trauma can be physical, it can be emotional, it can be spiritual. There are many types of traumas that can happen. And let's just say, as an example, if I grew up with a very sad disposition, and as you know, when we have an emotion, our body will take a shape. So when I'm sad, my body gets a little bit it drops down a little bit, and it's not quite as lined up as it would be if I wasn't sad. So if I'm sad a lot, remember what fascia does, it remodels to the way we use the body. So if I'm often sad, my body takes that shape, the fascia will sort of solidify into that shape, and my shape will be a sad shape. That's just how it works. In a physical realm, you could understand an example. Let's say I break my leg and I'm limping, and for many years I will have a limp, even if my bones are healed and everything is recovered. It's just the nature of how we adapt around things that happen. So the body solidifies around an event and it perpetuates it. And here we are, we have an opportunity to go through these areas and unblock them, to open them up, to liberate them so that the body can be current. So those are the 5 things that actually create the shape, and the body work that we do helps to open up those shapes and restore the body to its natural line. So that's the body work in a nutshell. The movement education is extremely important because when we realign the body, if we continue to move with the same patterns that got us into the former structure, it's not going to last, because, as I said, fascia models to the way we use the body. So if we change the way we use the body and learn to move with fluid alignment, the body doesn't ever go back to the old way. It's really amazing that this is true, and it is true. So I wanted to share that with you. And, one example I could give you of movement habits that you're familiar with, I'd just like you to go ahead and cross your arms as you're watching this. Go ahead and cross. Okay, and it probably feels pretty normal. And go ahead and cross the other way. It probably feels a little bit awkward, right? And anatomically, there's really no difference between the two sides other than the neuromuscular and neuromotor habit that we have. So we get ingrained through the habits of moving a certain way, and it gives us our shape. And with the movement education element of Hellerwork, structural integration, we basically look at all the functions of daily life: sitting, standing, lifting, reaching, special hobbies that you have, to help you learn how to do that in the new, aligned and fluid way, so that the body doesn't go back. In fact, it continues to open up, it continues to flourish, and it continues to vitalize, so you have your full energy. So the third element is what we call dialogue, or really somatic dialogue, because we're learning how to understand and work with the interaction between our minds and emotions and the body, the way they interface. So most people don't realize this, maybe not academically, but emotionally, we understand that when we have an emotional reaction, let's say I'm scared, go ahead and put scared in your body, the idea of being afraid or something you might fear a little bit. And feel in your body where that tightens up. There's a clench somewhere. So I noticed in my body, my shoulders came up a little bit, My head went a little bit back and forward with the chin. And that's what my body does when it gets afraid. You might have a different one. I'm going to let that go because I don't want that to stay with me. But that's just it. You know, these things, if we're unconscious about how our emotional and mental responses affect our body, it doesn't matter how much you straighten out the body, how much you realign it, how much you work on it, because underneath all of that, there is clenching and tightening because we don't recognize the relationship between the mind and the body. And yet, with the somatic dialogue, we learn how to do this. It's a real gift because we don't have to be a slave to the body's tension. We can actually learn how to let it go. We can learn how to let it go through us. We can really upgrade our whole relationship with our body-mind. And so the somatic dialogue is a way of doing that. Now, with Hellerwork structural integration, it's really an educational process. And there's 11 sessions that are part of the basic work. There's, of course, ongoing or advanced sessions later for people that want to do that. However, with each session of Hellerwork structural integration, usually the sessions are 90 minutes. Part of the time is on the table, working body work on the, to realign the body. And part of the work is also working with the somatic process of the client to help them connect their psycho-emotional patterns and their body responses. And very importantly is the movement education that we do every session. And since every session of Hellerwork has a different theme and a different purpose, and collectively create this beautiful result that we want, each session has a theme and an exploration of the mind-body relationship. So, for example, in the second session of Hellerwork, which is really about realigning the legs and the feet under the pelvis, one of the goals is with the dialogue work is to explore foundational issues that may have been present early in life and the way that we react when we need to take a stand, when we need to stand up for ourselves, when we need to bring our best foot forward and move forward. And this type of exploration creates an evolution of the person. It's really an opportunity to move forward in your life when you explore these types of things and clear them out of the body, any of the patterns that are robbing us of our power and our ability to move forward. So the combination of the body work, the movement work, and the dialogue is a very powerful tripod that helps evolution of the person. I'm about to share with you a Hellerwork demonstration of the first session of Hellerwork. And it's not going to be the full session because that would take an hour and a half. And for the purposes of this demonstration, I'm going to show you highlights of the session and speed through some of the other sections. And you're going to get to see at the end some photographs of before and after the session itself. Hello there, we're about to start session 1, and I'd like to introduce you to Christina.
Hello.
So Christina, I'm just going to check a few things. We're going to see how things are before we start so that we can come back to it later and see what shifted. Mm-hmm. So I'm getting a reading that this hip is a little taller, a little higher. This hip is actually a little more kind of turned in this way, a little more narrow. Mm-hmm. All these things I'm pointing out, we can shift. Mm-hmm. This shoulder also is a little bit higher. This is a little lower. Mm-hmm. Have you found that to be yourself I mean, have you noticed?
I don't necessarily feel it. Sometimes when I look in the mirror, I wonder if I'm a little
Yeah, we
more.
do get used to how we are. Also, there's a little tendency to be over this way. If I take you the same amount the other way, it probably feels weird.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just felt a slight crack there.
Oh,
Maybe a
yeah?
good one, but yeah.
Your body likes to live a little more this way.
Yeah.
Everyone has that type of a grain. There's also a little bit of a spin this way.
Okay.
If I take you the same amount the other way,
Feels like I'm leaning back.
yes, yes. Okay, so would you just turn profile to this camera, and then back view towards the same camera? Yes. And then the other profile. Great. And then Christina, just walk back and forth a few times. And just take an easy breath. And as you're breathing, just allow it to open you. As you exhale, just allow your body to drop and soften. Noticing where the breath goes and possibly where it doesn't go. And as we work, I'd like to ask of you that if something is too much, that you say so.
Okay.
And you can be very direct. You can just say, stop, or that's too much, or
I definitely
ouch.
feel that. I mean, it hurts, but
Good, and just bringing the breath right to it is going to make a difference too. Does it feel like the bones hurt?
yeah.
Yeah. A big breath. And do you normally feel like you're in touch with your breath?
Yes, but even though I sing and I trained opera, so that takes a lot of breath, I still feel there's something's stuck. It's not fully working.
And always have?
Yeah, well, definitely when I was training, I was at USC, and I definitely didn't have the support system I needed. And I still work as a classical singer, but there's definitely areas where it feels like it's cut off.
Mm-hmm. When you do breathe, do you feel like you can get the breath all the way to the crest? Like to the summit?
No.
That's going to be a goal during our work here,
Yes.
to get the breath to come all the way up, or whatever the blockage is to free it. How is your imagination? Good?
Exaggerated.
I can imagine all kinds of things. Yeah.
Overactive.
Is it easy for you to imagine into the body?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's great. Because as we work, things may show up, images or colors, shapes, situations, memories. Just allow them to come up. Even if you feel feelings come up, just allow. is my suggestion. And into the back there. Bring the breath all the way up to the collarbone.
sound, or you feel it in your throat?
I can feel it in my throat.
Go ahead and take a full breath all the way up. And just tell me what you
Notice about that right side.
It's already feeling more open.
Mm-hmm. Does the breath feel like it's traveling differently through the
Yeah,
rib
it
cage?
feels a little up the rib cage.
Goes all the way up.
Yeah. Although I still feel, it always feels like in the back of my throat where
Uh-huh.
something sticks.
Okay. We're gonna get it.
Yay.
We're gonna get it.
Thank goodness we have 11 sessions together.
I know.
We'll try to get sooner than that, as soon as possible. You know, it's interesting that you related to this idea of sort of holding in. And if you take down for a minute, go ahead and point to the energy.
Okay. Does that feel a little more even?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Would you please turn on your right side? Go ahead and turn your tail under a little bit, like a tuck,
Like that?
and then go the opposite way, like you're sticking your butt way out. Which is easier for you to go under or back?
I think under.
Under? And what happens when you go back? What do you feel?
Just a little bit more effort. They're here.
In the back?
Mm-hmm.
Got it. Okay. We're going to basically take the oil can to the hip joint now.
Okay.
And get it to move a little more fluidly there. You know, you mentioned in the past Rolfing work that there was a lot of work done in the around the hips.
Yeah, so we overrated that area. A lot. Oh.
You know what's interesting? I put my contact here.
Both ways. How does that feel?
Definitely smoother.
Smoother? Go ahead and turn on your other side. How do you sleep?
Like this or the other side?
You look more comfortable on this side.
Do I?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
And I saw you go there like, yeah. The other side there was like your upper body was more displaced and here you're stacked perfectly. And turn under a little bit, under and back. And under and back. And under and relax. And under and release. And under and back. Which one felt tighter to you?
Oh, I didn't notice. But make it gray.
Yes,
Yeah.
a little bit. Just a little bit. Okay, take a breath.
Ah. Ah.
When you do a forward bend, is it easy for you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ah.
Easy to get to the ground?
Mm-hmm. Ah. 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 Ah.
Hey, this time go ahead and hold your hands around this knee like this. And we'll do it as far out as you can reach. And then slowly pull in towards yourself. Bring your shoulders back. Good. And add some length to your neck. Yep.
Ah.
That's it. Just relax on the exhale. There you go.
Ah. Ah. Ah.
In a moment, I'm going to ask you to press your feet into the table a little bit and then just curl the tail up a little bit. Go ahead and do that. Yeah. And come down on my hand. And let all the weight go. That's it. Okay with that?
Mm-hmm.
Just pull the left shoulder lower towards the foot and let it go. And same idea here. We're going to just clear off the back of the skull. And just pull that shoulder a little low. And relax it. tender there, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Good, take a deep breath. And let it all go. Good. And then I'd like you to just gently roll onto your left side. And we're going to do a little bit of seated work. So we're going to do some work on your shoulders and on your back, and just to get a little bit of instruction on sitting. Now, can you feel that out of each side of your butt, there's a bone that's hitting the bench?
Mm-hmm.
We call them the sit bones.
Mm-hmm.
And so right now you're sitting beautifully right on top of them. Now, if you were slouching, go ahead and slouch. Can you feel how you rolled in back of those bones?
Mm-hmm.
Now, without using your back to tighten to make the correction, just gently take your pelvis and roll it forward, and the chest will come with it, just like that. And when we do that kind of adjustment, it doesn't require the back to hold, which is then it becomes sustainable. Usually if someone's slumping and then they're kind of holding themselves up, then 5 minutes later it's like it's not sustainable. So we want to find a balance where you don't have to work hard, and just let your arms dingle like that. Now, if you wanted to reach forward to get something from the table, you would rock to the front of the sit bones, like that. Yes, perfect. So that's a perfect movement. We want to use that to leverage on as the fulcrum for the movement. So let me see you turn your head to the right as far as you can. And then the left. And right again. Is it a little harder going to the right?
Yeah.
Okay. The range is not bad though. What we're going to do, we're going to make it a little better. So gently leading with your eyeballs, start to turn your head to the right. And you might feel this go up in your head.
Mm-hmm.
That's okay. It might feel a little bit tight or stingy sometimes. Can you see my finger?
Yes.
Just take a breath, go a little further as you let the shoulder drop on the left. And a little further turn. Yes. Good, 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 good. As we release this side, it releases restrictions so that you can turn further to the opposite side. And back to center. And drop just your head straight down. And back up. And now turn your head to the right. Let's see if we make a little bit of gain.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
And slowly turn left. Good. As you turn left, just lead with your eyeballs. That's great. Let your chin come too. Yes. Stay there, but just let this drop. There you go. A little bit more. Yep. And slowly come back to center. And just let your head alone drop down. Just gently press your feet into the ground so I don't push you over. And back up. And now we're going to do it, we call it down the back. So I'd like you just to release your head down, one vertebrae at a time. Great. Good, good, good. And slowly continue going all the way over. Control the speed of descent from your feet so that you're pressing them into the ground. That will also protect your back as we do this. As you come up, I'd like you to let your head be the last to come up, just one vertebrae at a time. using your feet pressure into the ground to give you the power to come up. Just one vertebrae at a time all the way. All the way. Beautiful. That was fantastic. A normal person doesn't do it so nicely. You're not normal. Okay, so as you're sitting there, how do you feel?
Kind of lifted more, like.
Is it a little easier to be upright?
Yeah.
So there's a way of getting out of a chair I want to show you, which is very simple. Because most people, when they get up out of a chair, they kind of tip their head back and they use their back muscles to come. Instead, we're going to use gravity and momentum. So the head's going to be the first thing to drop. I'm going to bring and ask you also to bring 1 foot back and 1 foot forward. So you're going to let your head drop forward and your body will kind of fall over your feet, and then you push down to come up. Yes, using your leg power. And sitting down, you can just play the movie backwards. Now, did you notice you could stop at any point? You were in control. And when we do it the other way, it's kind of like plop.
Right.
So you want to have the control to, that you're using your own body strength and balance to do these movements. They're the safest and the best on the body. And they will get more fluid. And so this time when you come up, just let your head drop first and be the last thing to come up, like you're folding up. Excellent. And just rebalance your feet. Even step back a little bit. Yeah. So what I'd like you to do now is just give yourself a little bit of an assessment where you're feeling your weight on your feet. In fact, do a little side-to-side check, going right, going left, and then find a place in between the two. Let the kneecaps soften. Yeah. Did you notice that brought you a little more forward? Okay.
Yeah.
And just from your ankles, just go forward and back a little bit. So this is actually what we'll call the homework, is to work on finding your middle, the place where your feet are balanced side to side and front to back. And then also, I want you to imagine that there's a long axis of energy coming all the way through your body and up and out through the top of your head. Yeah, you could think of it as a golden tube. It's a stream of energy that the body is basically balanced around or organized around. Is it easy enough to visualize? Now, if it became an energy conduit, a conduit for energy flow, like a hose, if you went like this, it would stop the flow. So when we're crumpling and doing things where we're kind of locking the body, we're basically stopping that flow. So I want you to be sensitive to keeping the current moving. And when you do feel like you're clamping somewhere, you notice and then you let it go and you open it up. Go ahead and take a few steps with that balance, with the idea of having an open stream coming through the center of your body. Your body's organized very well. You already have great posture, so that part is not an issue. And how does it feel walking right now?
Feels lighter.
Lighter?
Yeah. More weight.
Oh, good. Good. Okay, so that's session 1.
Yay!
We did it.
I'm so excited I have more.
You do, good job.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I hope you enjoyed that short pre-recorded presentation of the first of 11 Hellerwork sessions. And now I would just like to thank you for attending this presentation. It's a pleasure to share this work with people. And I do have a hope that some of you may be inspired to either come in for Hellerwork sessions, find a practitioner in your area, and discover the benefits that you can have from this amazing work. and possibly learn how to do this work. This is an amazing body of work, and we need more people practicing it. Thank you for watching.